Peace and blessings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Richard Taylor, and I'm coming back with a little more information regarding the case of former Wayne County Sheriff Deputy Michael Cox, who has been indicted, jailed, and is now undergoing litigation in a federal court for crimes ranging from mail fraud, evidence tampering, drug trafficking, all of those things which has been listed in the indictment. The indictment came out a few weeks ago and did certain videos regarding Michael Cox's involvement with some alleged informants, which is the focus of the DA's case. But some information has just been released to me right here. I have an article from the old New North or the new old North. I always get it mixed up. But the article details something that I have said from the beginning. I did a video about the fact that Michael Cox and Chris Worth were not able to perform these acts without help from the district attorney's office and other personnel in the court system, and also other higher ups in the law enforcement system. Now, this article is entitled "The DA's Office Threw Out Drug Charges at Cox's Request." That's the title. If you can see, that is I think the lead district attorney, Matthew Delbridge. But this article, details once again Cox's involvement with two alleged informants, and it focuses on the fact that when the alleged informants got arrested for drug charges, Cox was able to contact the DA's office and solicit the non-prosecution of the cases of those individuals. Listed in the indictment, I'll just go over. It said one time that one of the alleged informants and his girlfriend were stopped and they got caught with a large amount of drugs, and both of them were charged. Now, in the indictment, it said that Cox reached out to a district attorney. Now, once again, that district attorney has not been named. I don't know why. I don't know why that district attorney as well is not in handcuffs. But the indictment said that Cox requested that the drug charges against the alleged informant's girlfriend will be dropped. And the indictment said that the prosecutor or the district attorney at first told him no. And then Cox said, "Okay, well, I'll talk with you about that later." Now, it doesn't give any details about, them conversing later. Nevertheless, consequently, those drug charges against the girlfriend were eventually dropped. So that once again lets me know, or the logical person, anyone with, a brain or who would be able to analyze that situation would see that Cox had some influence over that DA to make them charges go away. Now, this article, once again, written by the old New North and Ken Fine. I actually met Ken Fine at a social event last night, and he told me some other things that would be coming to light within the next week. So I'm not going to speak on those things, but I will speak on one of the situations listed in this article, whereas one of the alleged informants got caught with an amount of marijuana, which would be considered trafficking. And those charges, once again, were dropped by the DA. And as it mentioned in this article, it said the reason for those charges being dropped was listed under ACIS special conditions. The special conditions. And in large bold letters, it said, "Request by M. Cox." and it says they called District Attorney Matthew Deveridge for comments, and those calls were not returned. Now, the article also focuses on the relationship or the protocol for the DA's office to recognize individuals who were considered confidential informants. Now, the federal prosecutor against Michael Cox insists that there was never no files or paperwork identifying these individuals, the alleged informants, as confidential informants. And one legal official said it is protocol for there to be some type of documentation on whether these individuals were informants or not. But according to the records, there was never any documentation on these individuals. Therefore, making Cox's actions even more egregious or gregarious, because that alludes to the fact that he was just operating as a loose cannon. But more importantly, he had connections with DAs where at least 2 instances he was able to, as this article says, thwart prosecution. The federal prosecutor said in open court that the indicted former Wayne County Sheriff's Office drug unit chief had quote unquote buddies in the DA's office who did him favors. So I've already kind of went through how that his actions couldn't have been done alone, but evidently the federal prosecutor and actually the judge seems to feel that way as well. Once again, there were no documentation that these men were informants. The alleged informants were informants, which means that Cox was just acting as their protector. Tipping them off, making drug charges go away, which once again alludes to the fact that there is no way he could do that without help from the DA's office. Now, once again, the head district attorney, Matthew Deveridge, has yet to comment on this. So we're going to see, once again, what is going to come to light when everything is adjudicated in the courts, because there are several individuals or persons, positions that were named in the federal indictment, doing also things to help Mike Cox. So once again, when those names come out, I think there's going to be some more charges, according to one source I spoke to. So we're going to keep a close eye on this, because I just talked to an individual who was locked up by Mike Cox in 2007. And another individual in that same case, I think he ended up serving, at least 14 or 13 years. So my concern, my plight in all of this is those individuals that were arrested by Mike Cox, and this one individual told me that, Mike Cox tried to put him in a position where he would be charged with a large amount of drugs, and that did not work. But yet and still, his property, his money was not returned, and also his reputation was marred by that, causing him to lose his business. So Mike Cox has definitely affected many other people. Besides these 2 alleged informants, there's more people who have been, implicated as alleged informants, but those names haven't came out yet neither. So we're going to keep a close eye on this case, because as a lot of people seem to think that Sheriff Pierce should no longer be in his position as well. Just one example, they said that they had over 90 guns in their quote unquote drug unit headquarters that was in a separate facility than the regular sheriff headquarters. Now they had these guns just stashed away in a shower, in the building, in an enclosed shower. So that lets me know that Sheriff Pierce was not making his rounds, was not checking for these guys to feel so comfortable that they can display or stash a stockpile full of weapons in this facility without no danger of being caught. So that lets me know that Sheriff Pierce was not supervising these persons diligently, and as I mentioned in the aforementioned video, it's either two things: you were not competent enough, you were too ignorant to know what was going on, one, or two, you were complicit in those actions and allowed them to operate in such a manner which betrayed the ethics of their position. So, a lot of people are still waiting for some punishment or some action to be taken against Sheriff Pierce, because there's no way, if I was the sheriff and I had a unit that was separate, I would at least come by and check that unit, make some inspections. But apparently, these guys were totally comfortable with allowing guns to be stockpiled in that manner. So, just to let you guys know that the federal government thinks, and I do too, and the evidence points that there is some coercion, some cooperation, some collaboration, some corroboration with Mike Cox's actions by the DA's office, namely Attorney Matthew Delbridge. And once again, also the article mentions once again Cox's relationship with Worth Haycock, in which he allegedly facilitated the defense of one of the alleged informants by that attorney, and that attorney, was once again complicit in a lot of these actions, helping to thwart or warn the alleged informants and the alleged traffickers of police surveillance, of police targeting, of police warranting them as well. So just keep an eye on this. I think there's going to be some more information released tomorrow. And so we're going to keep an eye on that. But shout out to the Old New North Ken Fines for staying on this case, because this is a sad thing that this is only in a local independent paper and not plastered all over CBS, WTVD, WNCT, WRAL. All of those news stations should have a constant coverage of this case, instead of some independent writer who's doing an excellent job, by the way, of going to these court cases and listening to the information that has been that information that has been said and brought forth in the open court. So we're going to keep up on this. Once again, my number is 919-587-7785. If anyone wants to provide more information, provide some of their own experiences with these officers, some of their own coercion or threatening or even being set up by these guys, because once again, this is something that reaches far more than what we see. If he's doing these things, then he's definitely had a hand in a lot more other unscrupulous activities that may have cost individuals years and time off their life. So we're going to be back with you probably tomorrow to give you that information, but stay tuned. I think there's going to be a lot more come to light with this case. Peace and blessings.